I'm going to be breaking down JDM versus Carlos Prates, the UFC Fight Night, UFC Perth. Quite the performance, as I predicted, for Carlos Prates. You know, I had Prates by first round knockout. I'm not trying to say, like, I thought it was a really 50-50 fight. At the end of the day, it came down to Prates not being able to get inside, or JDM not being able to get inside Prates, inside a boxing range, which he just simply couldn't do, which I didn't really expect. I expected this fight to go one of two ways. Either JDM to either blob decision him with his takedown defense, or maybe a JDM 50-45 decision, just completely outstriking him on the feet. Or Prates being able to finish him, which he was able to do in the third round. I actually predicted a first round finish, but we got that in the third. Prates is just simply too dangerous of a guy to be on the feet with for longer than... unless you're Ian Gary, and Ian Gary almost also got finished. He's not the kind of guy that you just want to be hanging around with on the feet. JDM, I don't exactly know what you're supposed to do with him at this point in his career. It's really sad to say. He's in a tough situation. He loses to Ian Gary. He obviously loses to Islam. You know, his next upcoming fight, I want the division to shake out a little bit. We got to see if Morales versus Usman gets made. Fights like that get made, right? So until those fights get made, we'll have a better idea of where the division is headed. So JDM's got to fight someone upcoming next. I wouldn't mind a Morales fight, but I'd like Morales to get in the cage a little bit sooner. JDM needs to take some time off, figure things out. And Prates will also probably be out of the cage for a while. I would expect probably what's going to look like 9 months, because we're going to probably see an Islam defense in August. Which is 3 months from now. And Islam will probably not fight until February. So we'll probably be waiting another 8 or 9 months before we get Carlos Prates back in the cage again. And Islam is going to absolutely dominate this guy. Carlos Prates is absolutely nothing for Islam Makhachev unless he's somehow able to stuff those takedowns, which he will not be able to stuff. I would take Islam, honestly, pretty easily, either 50-45, 50-44, maybe even 50-43. But hey, you never know if one of those knees up the middle catches Prates. That's absolutely a possibility. But this is also assuming that Islam beats Gary, but Prates loses to both Gary or Islam. So honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins these fights, because Prates will be losing his next fight, and I'm fairly confident of that. And like I said, I think Jack's a really good fighter. I think Prates was just a terrible stylistic matchup for him. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to having that long of a reach advantage and just not being able to get inside the other guy, it's really hard to be able to beat a guy whenever he's just that much long and lankier. And Prates does look like he advanced in his striking. His striking looks better. His takedown defense, like I always said, was average at best. JDM got 2 very easy takedowns, and if JDM can get those 2 takedowns, I can't imagine what Islam would do to you. I know he had some decent takedown defense against Ian Gary, but I mean, Leon was able to blob him. Like, this is a problem for Carlos Prates. Clearly, this was prime Carlos Prates. We will never see a better performance than what we saw tonight out of Carlos Prates. So enjoy it while it lasted. Okay, going on to the next fight, we have Beneil Dariush versus Quillan Salkild. I did pick Salkild by decision. I was not expecting a first-round knockout. I thought that Benny was just a little bit too crafty of a vet to be able to get knocked out like that. But as soon as they had any semblance of a fight on the feet, it was over rather quickly. Beneil is clearly washed. Beneil should retire. He had a good career, but clearly it's time for the Young Bucks to kind of take over here. You know what I mean? Kind of take over, which is tough. All right, going on to the next fight, we have Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. I did pick Tim Elliott by decision, so I did get this fight wrong. Steve Erceg looked really good. Really good. I'm really excited to see who he kind of fights next. Obviously should take some time off after this fight, kind of prepare himself for whatever's next. I mean, let's take a look at the numbers kind of 5 through 10 in this division. Let's just kind of see what could be next for a guy like Steve Erceg. Could it be who's kind of in that region, right? I mean, he hasn't looked good. This is the first fight Erceg has looked good in in a while. Probably the first fight he's looked good in since the Pantoja Masterclass. To be honest, the fight that he did lose. Maybe we could see an Amir Al-Blasi fight. I kind of like that. I like Amir Al-Blasi for him. I do. I think Amir Al-Blasi makes sense because you're probably going to do Van versus Tyra. Pantoja fights the winner of that fight. Kopp versus Horiguchi. More than or Horiguchi's booked, right? No, I think they made that fight. I'm pretty sure Kopp versus Horiguchi's booked, which is a crazy fight. But I'm pretty sure Kopp's going to be able to knock him out there. Yeah, Kopp Horiguchi's booked. Maybe you could do a Brandon Moreno. Yeah, I would be down for a Brandon Moreno unless you want to do Loner Kavanaugh versus maybe Asu Almabayev. Yeah, I like... yeah, maybe Moreno versus Urseg. Oh, they already fought. I don't know what you do with Steve Urseg, to be honest. Let's not match make any fighters yet coming off of a fight. I think it's kind of dumb. I think you should let the division play out for another 2 months and then kind of give them some time off between their matchups. Urseg did take some punishment. By the way, Urseg won 30-27. I'm surprised that the scorecards had it 29-28. I thought it was very clearly 30-27. By the way, I'm watching the highlights as we speak for Prates versus JDM. This was like the worst bedtime fight of all time. JDM almost got calf kicked, TKO'd. Like a Joe Rogan masterclass by Carlos Prates, clearly. It was just a brutal finish. I feel bad for JDM. We'll see. Yeah. Marlon Rahiki looked really good. Just completely outclassed Ali Schmid. He had absolutely nothing for him on the feet. And he was right. And he looked good. So I would like to see Rahiki, definitely get a step up in competition. I don't know what that looks like yet. But he needs a step up against someone who's not 4-2 in their professional career. That's ridiculous to get a UFC fight at 4-2. Coming up next, we got the Blob versus Brando Perisic. Perisic looked good. I had Perisic by second round knockout, so I did call this fight. I also had Rahiki by first round knockout. I saw this card pretty well. I didn't see this main event. Even though I did have Prates by knockout, I thought JDM would be able to style and Prates would be able to fluke something, so I didn't see the main event that well. But Gaziev is just clearly at the end of the ropes here. Kind of a tough spot to be in for him and his career. I kind of feel bad for Gaziev, but it is what it is. And then Tuivasa got blobbed. Louis Sutherland got about 15 minutes of control time. Yeah, Bam Bam had absolutely nothing for him the entire fight. Yeah, absolutely. Did he? Yeah, I don't even feel like he landed a significant strike. He landed 13 of them. Yeah, it was like he landed that one elbow in the first, and outside of that, it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough for Bam. He was averaging about a significant strike every minute 10 seconds, which is not the performance that you want to see out of Tuivasa. I did not watch this fight. I was asleep. I do live in America, so it was 6 o'clock in the morning when this fight started for me. So, as you can imagine, I'm not waking up to watch Cam Rowson versus Robert Brycek. But I'm glad Cam Rowson won. I really like Cam Rowson. I watched his last fight, so good to see that. I got this pick right. Junior Tafa, I did have losing because, of course, you have Junior Tafa losing. It's ridiculous to have him winning. But he was able to get a first-round knockout, which was relatively impressive for Junior Tafa. I didn't expect him to win a fight.